If something's rotten to the core and it keeps a two-tier system, two-tier police system, two-tier law system, two-tier hierarchy with a hidden political system controlling all of our governments, doesn't that deserve to fall down? More to the point, ought that not be dragged down? They're fighting so hard to stop the system falling down that they're trying to make it illegal, a jailable offence, to say anything that may have any impact or go against an economy. Well, the system is the economy, and the economy is the system. We're just commodities. You know that they don't give a shit about us when they take our guns off us and then stick a different gun in our hands and send us off to another country to kill one another. Isn't it funny how they always send everybody to other countries? Who fights in their own country? The oppressed. This nonsense that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. A load of shit. If you're pointing a gun at somebody in another country, you're a terrorist. And deserve to get shot. You don't deserve to walk home. They can't make you do it, you know. It's impossible to make you shoot somebody, to make you kill somebody. It's impossible. That's just your own cowardice. You're afraid of a label. So I'm not going to do it. Sorry, you're going to have to put me in prison because I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not interested in having any charges pardoned or anything, or a bag of gold. Doesn't interest me. Because she's a long time dead. If we don't allow this system to fall, then we deserve it to crumble and collapse on top of us.
This is a very defining moment for America right now as we watch the nation, the government, the people really move in separate directions. The normal American people, the working class, the middle class, the working poor, we're more isolated, but we're the only ones left. It feels like we actually carry the torch of being a just nation. The American elites have convinced themselves that their personal immunity is national security, and as Pam Bondi said, if we went ahead and prosecuted everyone whose name was in the Epstein files, the entire system would collapse. If that's the case, then let it collapse. If the system is so fundamentally unjust that there's no equal representation under the law, then what incentive is there for the people to maintain and pay into that system? It's a system that's robbed them of their future. It's a system that's robbed them of the safety and security that they're promised, supposedly, in this nation. But the question I ask is, why just us? The UK is not having any kind of problem getting rid of people who have an attachment to these files. Even the royal family was brought low by the same charges that we're seeing all over the United States right now. And we argue over redacted files, but just look what's happening across the pond right now. Prince Andrew was a royal, yet he was stripped of his Royal Highness title, and now he essentially lives the life of a commoner. And this isn't any small feat that's being done. You know, this is something that rocks the entire kingdom, the entire United Kingdom. And King Charles looks at Andrew and says, "You are a liability now. You're not good for this family, this firm." But what happened? When that happened, did the system collapse?
It's
Did
pretty
the
much
river
the
towns dry up? Did the markets fall into a free fall? No, they didn't. At least there's some kind of justice, just not here in America. Again, in the UK, they had Ambassador Mendelsohn, who stepped down last week from the House of Lords, and now there's a criminal investigation being put on him. Nothing like this in the United States, though. We call ourselves a republic and we say no kings, yet we've created a class of people who are more untouchable than actual real-world royalty. And this is something that goes beyond the tribalism that we have in our modern politics today, I believe. This is something that goes past whether you're a liberal or conservative, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. I think that this is something that touches on the soul of humanity, no matter what country that you live in, and the call for justice is something that we feel in our hearts when it comes to these things. Anyone who denies the claims or denies the profound impact that these files are having on the country right now should be condemned for the fact that they're operating solely off of pure tribalism.
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible.
Zero.
To reject justice simply so your side can win and bend the knee to an entire class who thrive in perversion and have usurped every kind of power derived from wealth that this country has ever produced is in many ways nothing other than class treason. And I think that America is wandering into this most profound time and really having a bit of an awakening. And the rest of the world's seeing it. And like I said, there is accountability that's happening all over the world. And I think that that's going to snowball. I think that that's going to really gain momentum as we see more people stand down, more charges come up. But the question is, why our president gets to live his life freely in the highest position, the highest office in the land, when his name is specifically mentioned thousands of times in these same damning documents. It's enough to shake countries to their cores all over the world, but not America. I mean, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, he might have to step down over the fact that he hired Mendelsohn. And he knew that he had a connection to Epstein. But what about the fact that our president himself was best friends for him for more than a decade? And the relationship that they had is more than just a scandal, it's proven fact. At this point, it's just what gravity those facts have that we debate about. But we have all these files in front of us, millions of documents, redacted or not, leaks coming out, still proving more atrocious behaviors, but at the same time, nothing happens. In a system that denies justice for the victim, simply because of the class that the accused was either born into or resides in now, is the sign of anything but a functioning, healthy republic. I always go back to the social contract because I think that it's the very foundation of the nation that we live in now. And the thing is, our country, our government, and the social contract has not just been broken, but it's been usurped, it's been bastardized, it's been turned into something that it's not supposed to be. Nothing is ever promised in America, sure, we can say that. But justice is always something that should be aimed for. But when the government does everything that it possibly can to subvert that same system to provide justice for those who are children, when they had these acts committed against them, then at what point do you sit back and say the system should collapse because that's what it deserves? At what point do you say that this great country must reap what it has sown? This isn't something lightly to be wished, but at the same time, I, as a veteran, as a father, I don't think that I'd want to be the standard bearer of this culture, of this nation anymore, if our entire leadership class is even partially guilty of the accusations that have been levied across the entire breadth of that class. The most powerful, the most renowned people in our society, are almost all of them have a connection to what happened on that island. And if it takes the system falling for there to actually be justice, if charges have to be brought up and there's some pain to be had, well, economically, we've been willing to have pain for a better and greater tomorrow, the whole Make America Great Again. But at what point did the means justify the ends become too extreme of a principle to follow? I think that people can only sacrifice their goodness for so long before that kind of darkness that takes hold becomes their full identity. And I think that we're seeing that now. If you're willing to stand on the side of abusers, of people who violate the most fragile in our society, then I think that you've found yourself on the wrong side. And I think that that's one of the most profound reasons why you're seeing MAGA kind of disintegrate or melt away around us. You don't see the same flags out in the front yards. You don't see the stickers. You don't see people wearing the hats anymore, because it is in our country becoming a bit of a mark of Cain. Because to still wear those things and still voice your support for this administration is in a way to validate that those kind of actions are okay. The lack of justice is fine because the means justify the ends. I say no. And hundreds of millions of people in this country, billions of people around the world also say no. If you feel like the system is wildly corrupt, if you feel like it is working against you, that is because it is. And this is just the most in-your-face proof of that. I can't even get away with a parking ticket, and you're going to sit here and tell me that a president of the United States, who has his name featured as one of the main participants in the greatest child trafficking ring of all time, gets to get away with it? Then yeah, obviously the system's unjust. So the question is,
the Ned's Punters Toolbox elevates your experience and gives you more. More value with boosted.
how much are the American people willing to take before they let that system collapse, and what that collapse actually looks like? Like I said, when you take away the Prime Minister, when you take away Prince Andrew, when you take away corporate leaders, does the global market, does the global economy simply just fall through? No, this is a fear tactic. This is a fear tactic to protect people from actually being charged and having the consequences of their actions, whether present or past, put upon their shoulders. In reality, the political class, the corporate class, the technocrats, once one of them are gone, another will rise up. That's how our corporate system, that's how our capitalistic system actually functions. If one man disappears, the entire thing doesn't crumble. And that's one of the beautiful things about how our bureaucracy in America, for all of its faults, is structured. Yes, it is very big, but one of the benefits of that is that when a handful of people get thrown in prison as they should, the whole thing doesn't collapse. Because the entire system in America isn't dependent on a few hundred people. If anything, at that point, when they're at that level, they're simply advisors. The truth is, these years right now will go down into history as a make it or break it moment for America, where we're seeing our nation diverge into two different directions. One which wants to keep its connection with its allies, one that wants to maintain its trajectory into progress, and the other one that wants to fall back into the worst kind of autocracy, oligarchy, technocracy, and feudalism. So the choice should be easy. But we have to recognize that a system that's run by people who are all blackmailing each other will never actually operate in the interest of the common person. There's no interest in actually fulfilling that social contract. Not when every decision that's made, the intention behind it is to keep secrets hidden. There has to be a clean slate. There has to be a clean sweep of the ruling powers in America. I feel like this is the only way that America can actually kind of not only get back the respect that it's lost around the world, but actually gain a foothold in survival in the future. You see the consolidation of wealth in this country to such an extreme degree. And as we've talked about again and again and again, because the point needs to be made again and again and again. And the top 10 people in this country have more wealth than 90% of this country is lunacy. But at the same time, our government solely works for the interest of those people while cutting away all social programs, all kinds of support that make life actually livable in this country. We don't think that the prices are going to go up any higher. Of course they will. The dollar will continue to get devalued as it loses its prominence and is no longer considered the global reserve currency, and nobody wants to do business with a country who won't actually deliver justice to those who need to be charged and convicted. This is a hard time to be an American because it feels like there's not much that we can do. And it feels like there's less and less places for us to go. And though I do believe this kind of era of trials and tribulations that the American people are going through will end and there will be light on the other side of that, how much damage can be done before then? That's why, as much as I dislike the two-party system, it's the only system that we have at the moment. Of course, we have a lot of newcomers that are coming up, people who are more populist, people who are of the people, and these are the kind of people that we need in office, people who will speak the hard truths and not just fall to bribery, not fall to usury, not fall to just uphold the same corrupt system simply because it pays well or it's good for them personally. We have to recapture the importance of community and social unity that goes beyond our political affiliation. If we don't do that, our country is doomed, and we're going to see these same kind of perversions and atrocities happen again and again and again, and the same lack of justice happen again and again and again until eventually it drives the people mad, or it just makes them so disenchanted and disenfranchised from the system that it will collapse on top of them. But there's a lot to be said on this, and of course I always welcome your questions. You can put them down in the comments section. I do like to engage down there. It's good to see that some countries are taking this seriously, and it's good that Americans are seeing other countries take this seriously, because it's making us understand that justice can be done, and that the fact that justice isn't being done is simply by choice. And this is why I say the only way that America can be saved is the people take back power. Because those who are in charge and rule over America right now are not of the people. They do not represent the people. They are predatory to the people. They will continue to be predatory to the people until they are reined in. That's all I've got. If you're still here at this point, like and subscribe. Think about becoming a member. Donations are always welcome to the channel. And this kind of sordid chapter, while I understand there's a feeling that, hey, let's just move forward, the fact is sometimes you have to look deep into the abyss to recognize the monsters that are there so you can actually fend them off. And the reality is no one's going to do that except us Americans here now, and we have to hold people to account, or else this entire project is doomed.
Let's watch this one as well, shall we? Why not?
Watch what happens to brown fat when you drink this, rosemary. Most people only use it on chicken or potatoes, but rosemary...
And you live in America, you just financed the largest asymmetric wealth transfer in modern history. And this entire event has been triggered by the fact that the Supreme Court just ruled that the tariffs from 2025 were illegal.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. The
Fuck your
Democrats
country.
on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress, they're an automatic no. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation. Others think they're being
God, what annoys me about this video? It's Babel all over again, isn't it? It's Babel. I think they're a law unto themselves. I think it's planet America. Everyone stays in one place. Speaks the same language. And the language seems to be in ones and zeros. Quite frankly, America disgusts me. I used to call it the United States of Degenerates. But now it's the United Degenerates of Israel, isn't it? They're taking over Australia. I'd like nothing more than to see America fall. Those feet of iron and clay. They fall, we fall. Well, we don't. See, this is what people are afraid of. They're afraid of losing the shiny objects. You're going to lose them anyway. It's gone. It's already done. If you don't pull your head out of your ass and let it fall. Stop supporting it. Stop holding it up. Just let it fall. Let it fall. What's the worst that can happen? You get out of the way and it doesn't fall on top of you. Push it over even. It's done. There is no way the West can come back from these atrocities. We're all on the list. We're all on the list. The real list, the digital list. The list that can't be redacted once it's been hacked. What do you think all this Palantir and everything's all about? It's everybody trying to hide in a digital list. If everybody's on the list and everybody knows that everybody's on the list, nobody wants to admit that they're on the list. They don't want anyone to think that they've done anything bad, so nobody dobs on anybody. Everyone's got a copy of the list. They're all on the list. We're all on the list. I'm on the list. You're on the list. We're all on the list. Ever used the internet? Yeah? You're on the list. Let it fall. What do you got to hide? If you're worried about it falling, then you've got something to hide. If you're worried about it falling, you're worried about the list coming out, then you've got something to hide on that list. Not everyone on the list has got something to hide. See? Not everybody's got a filthy, dirty conscience. Careful what you wish for. The word for disclosure in Greek is apocalypsis. Apocalypse. Apocalypsis. You all know what that is. Translates to the meaning in Latin. The meaning in Latin, apocalypsis is Greek meaning, which means revelation. They've opened the book now, there's no turning back. There's no turning back from it. Let it fall. Let the pieces land wherever they may.